Image prompt. She pressed a button at 9:02 a.m., the day everything completely fell apart. I never thought I'd be the one holding the detonator to my own life. But there I was, finger trembling over that goddamn enter key, staring at the screen like it was the face of God, or the devil, depending on who you asked. The clock ticked to 9:02 a.m., and with one press, I unleashed hell on the man who'd built our empire on my broken back, the same man who'd whispered forever while slipping the noose around my neck. In that split second, as the code cascaded like digital venom through the servers of Blackwood Financial, I didn't feel like a victim anymore. I felt like the storm they'd all been praying for, controversial as sin and twice as unforgiving. It started 9 months earlier, in the fluorescent hell of a Chicago PD interrogation room that smelled like stale coffee and regret. I'd been hauled in like yesterday's trash, cuffs biting into my wrists, for embezzling $2.7 million from the company's slush fund. Me, Amelia Hargrove, the golden girl of Blackwood, the one who'd clawed her way from a trailer park in Gary, Indiana, to VP of Operations by age 32. The cops didn't buy my wide-eyed innocence, neither did the feds breathing down their necks. Sign here. A sweetheart, the detective had growled, sliding over the confession form like it was a menu at a dive bar. But I didn't sign. Not then. Because deep down, I knew whose signature should have been there, my husband, Ethan Blackwood, the silver-tongued CEO who'd promised me the world and delivered a lifetime supply of lies. Ethan and I met at Northwestern, back when we were both broke undergrads dreaming of Wall Street glory. He was the charmer with the easy grin and family money that smelled like old whiskey and older secrets. I was the grinder, the one who pulled all-nighters coding algorithms while he networked at keg parties. We bonded over bad ramen and big ambitions. And, by graduation, we were married, me in a thrift store gown, him in his daddy's hand-me-down tux. Blackwood Financial was his inheritance, a mid-tier investment firm his grandfather had bootstrapped in the 70s. But it was my sweat that turned it into a beast. I optimized the trading bots, streamlined the compliance software, made us untouchable in the cutthroat Chicago finance scene. Ethan? He shook hands, schmoozed regulators, and took the bows. The betrayal hit like a freight train on a foggy morning. It was February, the kind of bone-chilling windy city winter that makes you question every life choice. I'd come home early from a client dinner, some hedge fund prick from New York who'd spent the evening leering at my cleavage, to find Ethan in our Lincoln Park brownstone, hunched over his laptop in the study. The door was ajar, and through the crack, I saw him wiring funds. Not to our joint account, not to the charity gala we were co-chairing, to an offshore shell in the Caymans, tagged with a name I didn't recognize, Vesper Holdings. My stomach dropped. Vesper? That was the alias his sister, Lydia, used for her side hustles, the ones she swore were just consulting gigs but everyone whispered were money laundering fronts for Chicago's underbelly mob ties. I didn't confront him that night. Call it cowardice or calculus, but I needed proof. So I started digging, quiet as a ghost in the machine. By dawn, I'd hacked into his private server, nothing fancy, just a backdoor I'd built years ago for emergency audits. What I found wasn't a smoking gun, it was a nuclear arsenal. Emails to Lydia detailing how they'd siphoned the funds to cover a bad real estate deal gone south. One that involved bribing city officials for a high-rise development in the Loop. But the kicker? The paper trail looped back to me. Forged signatures on transfer approvals, timestamps from my work IP, even a doctored video of me approving the wires during a late-night strategy session. Ethan hadn't just stolen money. He'd framed me to take the fall, all while romancing Lydia in plain sight. Brother-sister? No. Lovers. The timestamps on their texts, late nights at the office, family meetings at the Peninsula Hotel, painted a picture uglier than any tabloid scandal. I confronted him the next evening, over a bottle of Napa Cab he thought would smooth things over. What the hell is this? Ethan? I shoved the printouts across the marble island in our kitchen. The ones with his heart emoji replies to her "can't wait to feel you again." Bro. He didn't even flinch. Just sipped his wine, that predatory smile curling like smoke. Amelia. Darling. You're overreacting. It's business. Lydia's got connections, real ones. Not your Silicon Valley fairy dust. We needed the cash to keep the lights on. Keep the lights on? Blackwood was pulling $40 million in revenue that quarter. This was greed. Pure and incestuous. Wrapped in a bow of familial loyalty gone rancid. But the real gut punch came when he leaned in, eyes cold as Lake Michigan in January. Sign the confession, and we'll make it go away. Pension, alimony, the works. Fight it, and I'll bury you so deep. You'll be rotting in Supermax while I run for alderman. Alderman? That's when it clicked. This wasn't just survival, it was ambition on steroids. Ethan had his sights on politics, the kind that required clean hands and dirty money. And I was the sacrificial lamb, the trailer trash wife who'd snapped under pressure, as his PR spin would sell it. I didn't sign. Instead, I played along, nodding through the tears he lapped up like validation. Okay, I whispered. For us. But inside, something fractured, a fault line cracking through the woman who'd once believed in white picket fences and 401ks. I took the plea deal they railroaded me into, 5 years probation, community service at a South Side nonprofit, and a lifetime ban from finance. Ethan got to keep the company, the house, the narrative of the devoted husband standing by his troubled wife. Lydia? She slinked back to her consulting, flashing that shark-tooth grin at board meetings like nothing had happened. For 6 months, I ghosted through it all, volunteering at the food bank, smiling for the paparazzi staking out our driveway, pretending the noose wasn't still around my neck. But at night, in the guest room he'd relegated me to, I plotted. I reached out to old contacts from my coding days, ghosts from the dark web forums where I'd honed my skills evading Big Brother's gaze. Need dirt on a Chicago whale? I'd message. Anonymous as a shadow. They delivered. Dossiers on Ethan's bribes. Lydia's mob links to the outfit remnants still whispering in Little Italy. Even a whistleblower from the SEC who'd been stonewalled on Blackwood audits. By August, I had the blueprint. Not some Hollywood hack job, no. This was surgical. A worm I'd coded in Python, disguised as a routine compliance update, set to burrow into Blackwood's servers and exfiltrate every dirty byte. It would hit the wires at 9:02 a.m. sharp, post-market open, when the trading floor was a frenzy of caffeine and greed, maximizing the fallout. But I built in safeguards, redacted docs to shield innocence, timed leaks to outlets like ProPublica and the Tribune, ensuring the story broke with journalistic teeth. Controversial? Hell yes. I'd be ruining lives, colleagues who'd trusted Ethan, vendors on the payroll, even our neighbors who'd toasted our perfect marriage at block parties. Was it justice or just vengeance with a side of collateral damage? I'd lie awake asking that. The glow of my laptop the only light in the room. Ethan sensed something brewing. He started with a charm offensive, surprise dinners at Girl and the Goat. whispers of reconciliation in bed that turned my stomach. We're a team.
Ames.
Always have been. Team? More like a pyramid scheme with me at the bottom. Then came the flips, subtle at first. Like, accidentally, leaving Lydia's earring on the nightstand. Or forgetting to delete voicemails from her cooing about their next investment. He was gaslighting me, testing if I'd crack and spill my plans. When that didn't work, the threats escalated. A late-night call from an unknown number. Walk away. Or the food bank gets a donor list, with your name attached to the skim. Blackmail. Layered like an onion of deceit. I traced it to a burner in Pilsen. Outfit territory. Lydia's handiwork. No doubt. The tension coiled tighter as fall leaves turned the streets to fire. Board meetings became minefields. I'd catch Ethan's eyes on me, calculating, while Lydia lounged in the corner like a queen bee, her designer suits hiding the venom. One afternoon, after a particularly brutal pitch where she undercut my rehabbed ideas with her fresh vision, she cornered me in the ladies' room. You think you're the victim here, Amelia? Ethan's blood. I'm his future. You're just the speed bump. Her words hung in the air, perfumed with Chanel and contempt. I wanted to smash the mirror with her face, but I smiled instead. Speed bumps cause accidents. Lydia. Drive careful. By November, the worm was primed, lurking in a USB drive disguised as a client report. I'd slip it into the conference room AV system during the holiday mixer, eggnog flowing, carols droning, everyone too buzzed to notice. But doubt gnawed at me like a rat in the walls. Was this revenge or self-destruction? Ethan had given me a life, private schools for the kids we never had,
Shimerton Door County.
a seat at the table in a world that chewed up dreamers like me. And Lydia? She was poison.
Sure.
But she'd lost her own mother to cancer young. Clawed her way through the same nepotism Ethan wielded like a club. No one's hands were clean in this cesspool. Still, the button called. On December 1st, the night before the drop, Ethan threw a reconciliation party at the house, old Northwestern pals, finance bros in Patagonia vests, Lydia in a red dress that screamed homewrecker. I played the part, laughing at toasts, clinking glasses, even dancing with him to Wonderwall like we were 20 again. But as midnight struck, he pulled me aside in the library, the fire crackling like accusations. I know what you're planning. Ames. His voice was silk over steel. The coders you hired? Amateurs. I own them now. He slid a folder across the desk, screenshots of my dark web chats, NDAs from my contacts, all signed under duress. Call it off. And we start fresh. Divorce papers drawn, but generous. Fight me, and it's war.
War.
The word hung there, heavy as the bourbon on his breath. I could see it in his eyes, the flip, the calculation. He'd betray Lydia too, if it served him. She was just a pawn in his political chess game, a way to launder the mob cash into campaign slush. And me, I'd been the fool, taking the fall for his first screw-up years ago, a minor insider trade I'd covered for him during our honeymoon phase, thinking it was protecting our future. That secret had chained me here, gagging on loyalty while he feasted. I nodded, tears real this time. Okay.
Ethan.
For us. He kissed my forehead, triumphant, and I let him lead me back to the party. But as the clock wound down to dawn, I slipped the USB into my clutch. The worm was self-contained now, triggered by a single command from my phone. No takebacks. The morning of the second broke gray and unforgiving. The kind of Chicago December day where the wind off the lake feels like God's own middle finger. I woke in the master bed. Ethan had migrated back after the party. His arms slung over me like ownership, and, for a split second, normalcy flickered. Sunlight slanting through the blinds. The distant honk of a CTA bus. The smell of his cologne mingling with my fierce sweat. Then reality crashed in. The phone in my nightstand drawer. The app opened to the kill switch. I slipped out quietly, padding to the kitchen in my robe, starting the Keurig like it was any Tuesday. Ethan stirred as the first pod gurgled, shuffling and shirtless. His abs still a point of stupid pride at 35. "Morning. Beautiful," he murmured, nuzzling my neck. I forced a smile, handing him his black coffee, 2 sugars, no cream, while my thumb hovered over the screen in my pocket. We drove to the office together, his Tesla humming through the mag-mile traffic, NPR droning about the Bears' latest collapse. He prattled on about a big meeting with the mayor's aide, more bribes dressed as donations, no doubt, while I nodded, the city blurring past like a bad dream. Blackwood's tower loomed at Michigan and Wacker, a glass monolith reflecting the steel-gray sky, home to 200 souls who'd soon be collateral in my crusade. The lobby was festive chaos, garland-draped reception, a secret Santa tree twinkling under the atrium dome. "Merry early Christmas, Mrs. Blackwood," the security guard winked, buzzing us up. I wanted to scream.
Run.
"All of you. This place is a tomb." The elevator ride was suffocating. Ethan's hand on my lower back a brand. Lydia was waiting in the executive suite, perched on his desk like she owned it, which, in a way,
She did.
"Amelia," she purred, not bothering to hide the once-over. "You look rested." Her eyes flicked to Ethan. A silent code I now decoded as foreplay. I ignored her, settling at my old desk, reinstated as a gesture, and firing up the legacy laptop. The worm was dormant, waiting for the ping.
8:45 a.m.
Traders shouted floor slang from the open-plan bullpen below, the hum of servers vibrating through the walls like a heartbeat. Ethan called the morning huddle in the boardroom. All holly and holier than thou.
Team.
We're closing the year strong. Q4 projections up 18%. Applause rippled. Genuine from the grunts who'd grind for bonuses. Forced from the VPs in on the skim. Lydia stood beside him. Her slide deck a masterpiece of smoke and mirrors. Charts massaging numbers like a cheap massage. I sat at the foot of the table. The USB long since planted in the AV hub during a tech check the day before. My phone buzzed, a text from an unknown. He's watching. Abort? My dark web ally. The one Ethan hadn't flipped. I typed back, no. It's time. 9 a.m. The meeting wrapped. Suits scattering to their screens. Ethan lingered, clapping my shoulder. "Proud of you."
Ames.
Fresh start. His eyes bored into mine, daring me to flinch. I met them, steel for steel.
Yeah.
Fresh. He sauntered out, Lydia trailing like a shadow, their laughter echoing down the hall. Alone. I opened the app. The interface was stark, a single red button, labeled Execute. Below it, a timer syncing to the Exchange servers. My finger trembled, God, the weight of it. This wasn't just code, it was Armageddon. Files would flood the net, Ethan's emails begging Lydia for one more score, wire transfers time-stamped her Cayman accounts. Audio clips of him strong-arming the mayor's aide over contributions. The SEC would swarm. The Trib would feast. The outfit would retaliate. And innocence? Sarah from accounting, who'd baked me cookies during my sabbatical? She'd lose her job, her mortgage, her kids' college fund. Controversial didn't cover it. This was playing God with a glitchy joystick. 9:01. A knock. The intern with my latte. Extra foam. Thanks, kid, I muttered. The normalcy, a knife twist. He grinned, oblivious, and bounced out. The bullpen thrummed, phones ringing, Bloomberg terminals beeping. The American dream in overdrive. I thought of Gary, the rusted mills, and my mom's double shifts at the diner. How I'd sworn never to be her, trapped, voiceless. Ethan had dangled escape, then yanked it away. Press it, a voice whispered. Or live leashed. 9:02. My finger descended. Enter. The screen flickered, once, twice, then the cascade began. Green text scrolled. Exfil initiated. 47%.
62%.
A soft chime from the PA system, disguised as a weather alert. Incoming data surge. All hands, stand by. No one noticed. They were glued to trades. Caffeine-fueled zombies. I leaned back, heart hammering like a jackhammer, watching the digital poison spread. First leak, an anonymous drop to the SEC whistleblower line. Ethan's voice on tape. Make it $50,000. And the zoning's yours. Blackwood's word. Second, ProPublica inbox. Lydia's ledger, names, dates, mob cut percentages. Third, Tribune op-ed Q. My curated narrative, inside Blackwood, a family empire built on betrayal. Down the hall, Ethan's office door flew open. What the fuck? His roar cut through the floor like a siren. Footsteps pounded, Lydia's heels. VP's barking orders. The bullpen froze as alerts pinged, emails from regulators. CNBC tickers flashing, Blackwood under investigation. Sarah gasped, her screen blooming with headlines. The chaos erupted, phones exploding, printers jamming with leaked memos, traders dumping Blackwood stock like it was toxic waste. The value plunged, $120 to $87 in minutes. A bloodbath in pixels. I stayed put, sipping my latte gone cold, the calm eye of the hurricane. Ethan burst in, face purple, Lydia flanking like a hyena. You bitch, he snarled, slamming the door. I knew it. The coders lied. They flipped back. Lydia lunged, nails out, but he yanked her off. Not now. His flip was instant. Survival mode kicking in. Ames. We can spin this. Joint statement, rogue element. Your instability. I'll protect you. Protect? The man who'd framed me for his sins. Now begging scraps. She laughed. Bitter. Protect her? She's the leak. Ethan, I told you, cut her loose months ago. Her eyes darted to him. Betrayal flashing. You said it was handled. Us handled. The incestuous undercurrent surfaced, raw and rancid. Ethan rounded on her, venom spilling. You and your outfit pals pushed too hard. LYD. The bribes. The shells, this is on you. Flip after flip. Their alliance crumbling like wet sand. I watched, detached, as the tower trembled. Layoffs whispered. Clients fleeing. The board dialing emergency lines. Sirens wailed outside. Feds. Already? My worm had CC'd the US. Attorney. Ethan grabbed my arm. Bruising. Undo it.
Now.
I wrenched free, standing tall for the first time in years.
Can't.
It's viral. Lydia sneered, pulling her phone. Then you're done. One call to my friends, and that trailer park past of yours? They'll dig it up, your mom's OD. The Foster stints. Make you the villain. Threats layered, but hollow now. The PA crackled. Evacuate. Structural alert. False alarm. No, not structural. Ethical implosion. By 10 a.m., the floor was a madhouse, suits sprinting for elevators. Interns weeping over frozen accounts. The holiday cheer curdled to ash. Ethan barricaded us in, pacing like a caged wolf. We fight together, he pleaded. The charmer resurfacing. Remember Northwestern? Us against the world. I almost bought it, the nostalgia. The shared scars. But then Lydia spat. He's lying. Amelia. Always has. That insider trade you covered? My idea. He let you take the heat to test you. The buried secret clawed free. My first fall. Not his mistake, but their scheme. I'd borne it for love. Blind as a fool. Rage boiled over. Hot and unfiltered. You both deserve this, I hissed. The Empire? Built on my code. My loyalty, your lies. Ethan lunged, but the door burst security. Feds in windbreakers. Amelia Hargrove, Ethan Blackwood, you're all coming downtown. Cuffs clicked. The irony sweet. Lydia shrieked as they Mirandized her. Her connections useless in daylight. Ethan shot me a look, hate, regret, hard to tell through the mask. They hauled us out amid flashes, paparazzi swarming the lobby like locusts. Mrs. Blackwood. Was it revenge? Ethan. Affair with your sister? The headlines wrote themselves. Blackwood scandal. Incest. Embezzlement. And a wife's wrath. Controversial? The internet ignited. Amelia Venger trending. Feminists cheering my empowerment. Conservatives decrying family destruction. Pundits picked sides. Was I hero or harpy? Destroyer of jobs or destroyer of deceit? In the squad car, Ethan beside me, silent fury radiating. I felt the fracture heal into scar. But the twist lingered. A shadow on the horizon. The holding cell at the Dirksen Federal Building was a concrete coffin, reeking of bleach and broken dreams. Ironic, given the empire I'd just torched. They processed us separately, Ethan to a corner office for cooperation talks, Lydia to a glass-walled room where her lawyer, some slick outfit fixer, whispered alibis through the intercom. Me? Interrogation room 4. With a one-way mirror and a Fed named Ramirez who looked like he'd seen too many white-collar dirges. MS. Hargrove, he started, sliding a water across the steel table. That was some fireworks. Care to walk us through the button? I sipped, the plastic cup crinkling like cheap applause. Walk them through? Where to begin? The betrayal that started it all, or the worm that ended it? Ramirez leaned back. Tie loosened. The good cop routine polished from years busting Ponzi schemers. Off the record, balsa move. But you're looking at wire fraud. Conspiracy, 10 years. Easy. Off the record? In a room wired for sound? I almost laughed. The absurdity peaking. Instead, I laid it out, the framed job, the affair. The mob tendrils snaking through Blackwood like rebar in concrete. Omitted the insider trade I'd covered, the one that made me complicit. The secret I'd buried deeper than their sins. Partial truth. All controversy. By evening, the deals started flying. Ethan's first. Flip on Lydia for reduced charges. Painting her as the mastermind. Hers. Out him to the U.S. Attorney. Claiming coercion under a brother's thumb.
Mean it?
Immunity for the leak. In exchange for testimony and the full server dump. Ramirez nodded, scribbling. You're the credible one. Amelia. Clean record. Till this.
Clean?
If only he knew. As they uncuffed me for the night, house arrest pending bail, I caught Ethan's glare through the bullpen glass. Not hate. Exactly. Calculation. He'd flip again. Testify against me if the wind shifted. Bail hearing next morning was a circus. Court TV cameras jockeying outside the Loop courthouse. Protesters waving signs. Justice for Amelia. Clashing with Save Blackwood jobs. Ethan posted his million easy. Sauntering out in a fresh Brooks Brothers. Lydia's arraignment delayed by her medical episode. Hysteria. The tabs speculated. I scraped together $200K from a hidden Roth IRA, the one I'd stashed pre-betrayal, and stepped into the fray. Reporters swarmed. Did you know about the incest? Was it worth the layoffs? I pushed through. No comment. The cold slapping my face like judgment. Back at the brownstone, sealed as a crime scene. So a sterile Airbnb in Wicker Park. I collapsed. The adrenaline crash hitting like flu. My phone buzzed nonstop. Old friends ghosting. Northwestern alumni groups booting me. A GoFundMe from Sarah the accountant. Help Amelia fight back. $47K raise. Gratitude warred with guilt. Those 200 souls jobless. Holiday checks bouncing. Kids going without. Was this revenge or reckoning? The news cycle spun it both ways. CNN's feminist icon or corporate terrorist? Fox's the cost of cancel culture in the C-suite. I became the Rorschach test, hero to the betrayed, villain to the vested. Ethan reached out that night. A burner text. We need to talk. The Peninsula. Midnight. Trap? Temptation? I went. Cloaked in a hoodie and Ubers. The hotel bar a velvet tomb of expats and execs nursing scotches. He waited in a booth. Alone. The sister excised like a tumor. Truce. He slid a folder over divorce terms. Generous. The house. Half the remnants of Blackwood stock, now pennies. No fault narrative. His eyes. Bloodshot.
Pleaded.
I fucked up.
Ames.
Lydia. It was the thrill. The power.
But you?
You're the real deal. Real deal. The words twisted. Dredging the good years. Door County sunsets. His hand in mine at the pump room. The way he'd surprised me with tickets to Hamilton when deadlines crushed. But flips came easy to him. Lover to liar. Husband to handler. Why me? I whispered. The frame job. Why not just divorce?
He sighed.
The mask cracking. Because you knew too much. That first trade, the one you covered, if you walked, you'd talk. And the mob. They don't like loose ends. The secret surfaced fully now. Lydia's push. His complicity. My blind loyalty sealing the noose. I laughed.
Hollow.
So you built the gallows and made me climb. He reached for my hand. I yanked back. Sign. And it's over. Or fight. And we both burn.
Outside.
Snow fell soft on Michigan Avenue. Christmas lights mocking the mess. I signed. The pen scratching like claws. Truce? Or time out for his next scheme? The weeks blurred into a gray limbo, depositions in windowless rooms, where I testified to Ethan's bribes while he lawyered up silence, Lydia's trial prep leaking whispers of her flipping on the outfit, painting Ethan as the patsy. The press feasted, Chicago Sun-Times, Blackwood blood feud. Who betrays whom? Public opinion seesawed. Petitions for my pardon surged after a viral clip of me at the food bank, giving back post-scandal. But counter-protests decried me as the woman who killed Christmas bonuses. Controversial decisions piled. Should I testify against Lydia, dooming her to decades? Or let her skate on a plea, preserving some shred of family? January thawed the ice, but not the chill. Blackwood filed Chapter 11. Assets auctioned. Our tower sold to the bullpen gutted to cubicles. Sarah landed at a rival firm, texting thanks laced with resentment. You freed us. But at what cost? Ethan's political dreams curdled. The mayor's race imploded under federal scrutiny. His donations now exhibits a through Z. He holed up in a Gold Coast condo, dating a podcaster half his age. The flip to reinvention seamless.
Me?
I ghosted back to Gary Roots, crashing at my aunt's sagging bungalow. The hum of the steel mills a lullaby of what-ifs. Coding gigs trickled in, freelance audits for nonprofits, ironic penance. But the twist brewed in shadows, anonymous emails, encrypted. From a handle I recognized, my dark web ally. Not over. Check attachment. Inside, files on Ethan, post-divorce. Wires to Lydia's Cayman shell, reopened under a new alias. And photos, him and her, reconciling in a safe house. Her hand on his knee, his grin predatory. The betrayal looped. Eternal. But deeper. Metadata tying the leaks back to me, not just the worm, but fabricated trails making me the embezzler. The instigator.
Paranoia spiked.
Had Ethan flipped the ally after all? Or Lydia, weaving her web from custody? I confronted him at a neutral spot, a diner off I-94. Formica tables sticky with history. This you're doing? I shoved the printouts across. He scanned, face impassive. Ames, you're seeing ghosts. We're done. But his eyes, that calculation again.
Unless.
You want back in. Blackwood 2.0. Clean slate. My run for state senate. Your tech. My name. The offer hung. Temptation incarnate.
Power.
Redemption, or another noose. I walked out. Snow crunching underfoot. The decision crystallizing. Not truce. Reckoning. Round 2. As spring greened the lakefront, the trials converged, Ethan's plea for time served, Lydia's for immunity in exchange for outfit names. My role? Star witness. Or wild card. The courtroom drama peaked in April. Judge Harlan, a grizzled vet with a Bears mug on his bench, gaveling order amid the media storm. Ethan took the stand first. The charmer in a charcoal suit. I strayed. Your Honor. But Amelia. She snapped. The leak was her revenge porn. Gasps rippled. The gallery split. Murmurs of liar from my corner. Nods from his. Lydia followed. Tear-streaked. The victim flipped flawless. He manipulated me.
Us.
The affair?
Coerced.
Amelia knew. Covered for him once. Then turned. The secret spilled public. My insider trade complicity. The courtroom erupting. Objection. My lawyer barked. But damage bloomed suddenly. I was an avenger. I was architect. Bearing sins for love turned lethal. I testified last. Voice steady under the lights. I pressed the button because they broke me, framed me, used me. But yes, I covered once. Loyalty's a blindfold. No denial. Just truth. Raw and debated. The jury deliberated days. Headlines screaming, "Who's the real villain in Blackwood betrayal?" Verdict, Ethan. 8 years, Lydia. 5 with cooperation.
Me?
Probation extension. Community service doubled. Justice? Or jury compromise? Splitting the blame like a bad divorce. Outside. As we exited, Ethan in orange, Lydia in pearls, I felt the weight lift, then settle elsewhere. The twist hit by a certified mail a week later. A thumb drive. Anonymous. Playback. Ethan's voice. Post-trial. To a mystery contact. She's clean now. Perfect patsy for the Senate run. Plant the seeds. Make her the whistleblower who went rogue again. Flipped again. Using my redemption as his ladder. Rage reignited. But wiser now. No button this time strategy. I forwarded the tape to Ramirez. Off books. One more leak.
His chuckle crackled the line.
You're playing with fire. Hargrove. Fire? I'd become it. Summer baked Chicago into a skillet. The lakefront paths thronged with joggers fleeing the heat. But my world stayed frozen in ethical winter. The tape Ramirez anonymously leaked, timed to Ethan's parole hearing. Naturally, torpedoed his early out, stranding him in Stateville for another stretch. Lydia, ever the survivor, cut a side deal, testify against mid-level outfit wise guys, earn witness protection in some sun-bleached Florida nowhere. Last I heard, she was Linda Voss, running a yoga studio in Naples. Her red dresses swapped for Lululemon. The flip to suburban zen as audacious as her sins.
Me?
The fallout lingered like humidity, job offers trickled. But tainted. Ethics consultant gigs from firms sniffing redemption arcs. Or true crime podcasts pitching Amelia Unbound. I took the latter. A 6-episode stint for NPR. Narrating the saga in clipped Midwestern tones. Listeners ate it up, downloads spiked. Debates raged on Reddit. r/true crime threads dissecting, was Amelia's revenge justified? With 40%, hell yes. Smash the patriarchy, 35% nah. She wrecked innocence, 25% both sides toxic AF. Controversial to the core. No clear victors. Just endless scrolls of schadenfreude. But the real twist uncoiled in September. As leaves turned Trader Gold along the drive. I'd relocated to a Logan Square walk-up, cozy, anonymous, with a window herb garden mocking my green thumb fails, and started adjuncting at UIC, Intro to Cybersecurity, ironic lectures on ethical hacking to wide-eyed undergrads. One evening,
Post-class.
a student lingered, mid-20s,
Sharp Bob.
eyes like chipped flint. Professor Hargrove? Coffee. Her name tag read Mia Reyes, but the lilt, Pilsen accent, rang familiar. We hit a corner spot. Intelligentsia brew steaming between us. My aunt worked Blackwood mailroom, she started. No preamble. Lost everything after your button. Guilt spiked. Reflexive. I'm sorry, she waved it off, sliding a napkin-scribbled number. Not blame. Gratitude. Ethan's crew. The bribes? They shook down my family for protection on our bodega. Your leak-cleaned house. The outfit's retreat post Lydia had vacuumed the streets, small businesses breathed freer. Hero again. In microdoses. But Mia wasn't done. Heard you're single. Tenor? The ask hung. Bold as brass. I blinked. Post-divorce. Dates had been disasters. Finance bros vetting my stability. Activists grilling my collateral damage.
Mia?
Different breed. Activist-artist hybrid. Murals of La Lorna tagging gentrifying lofts. We clicked over tacos, al pastor. Her stories of pills and evictions mirroring my Gary grit. Bed followed. Tentative then torrid. Her touch erasing Ethan's ghosting fingerprints. For the first time since the button, I slept without scheming. Fall deepened. Our rhythm settling. Weekends at her mural collectives. Weeknights debating Foucault over Malort shots. But shadows crept. Anonymous calls. Hang-ups with breathing like wind through ruins. Then, a package, no return. A single photo, me and Mia, laughing at the Art Institute. Time-stamped yesterday. Back. Loose ends. Ethan's handwriting? Or Lydia's ghost? Paranoia. My old friend woke me at 3 a.m., laptop glowing as I traced the postmark, Stateville. Confrontation 2.0. Via prison visit. Ethan looked hollowed, orange jumpsuit swallowing his frame. The charmer's grin filed to a grimace.
Ames.
To what do I owe? Sarcasm dripped. I slid the photo under the glass. This you? He scanned, then chuckled, genuine.
Chilling.
Cute.
But no.
Parole boards got me leashed. Cameras everywhere.
Lie?
Truth? His eyes flicked left. To the guard's blind spot.
Though.
If it were, you deserve it. You pressed first.
Deserve.
The word echoed, forcing the mirror. My worm hadn't just felled giants, it had crushed ants. Sarah's foreclosure. The intern's breakdown, ripples I'd ignored in the rage. Maybe, I admitted. But you built the bomb. I just lit the fuse. He leaned in, voice low. Twist. Ames. Lydia's back. Not Florida, real back. She flipped on the feds too. Cut a deal for early release. Targeting you. To balance the scales. Balance? Her venom. Eternal. I left rattled. But armed. Ramirez on speed dial. A new worm coding in my downtime, not vengeful. But vigilant. Monitoring shells and whispers. Mia noticed the edge. Her artist's eye keen. Baggage. Over wine one night, I spilled the saga. Unvarnished. She listened. No judgment. Then, you're not villain or victim. Just human. Fucking up like the rest. Her words landed soft.
A bomb.
We made love after. Slow and sure. The city humming approval outside. Winter circled again. The anniversary of 902 looming like a guillotine. Blackwood's carcass sold off. Ethan transferred to minimum security, model inmate. Prepping law library appeals. Lydia vanished. Her, Linda, alias evaporating, whispers placed her in Toronto. Reinvented as a compliance expert for a crypto firm. Irony. Thy name is Flip. The climax crested New Year's Eve. Mia and I at a Wicker Park loft party, fire escapes strung with lights. Indie folk strumming against the chill. Champagne fizzed. Resolution slurred. When my phone vibrated, unknown video. Playback. Lydia. Gaunt in a fur-trimmed parka. Snow whirling behind. Amelia. One chance. Meet me, Union Station. Midnight. Or Mia gets the noose you slipped. Cut to Mia's mural studio. Tagged with traitor in red spray. A shadowed figure slipping something under the door. Package?
Bomb?
Heart seized. I bolted. Cab racing through confetti streets. Mia's texts pinging. Where are you? Union Station glowed spectral. The great hall empty save for echoes. Lydia waited by the whispering arch, bundled against the draft. Her face a map of defeats. You came. No triumph. Just weariness. Ethan send you? I snapped. She shook her head.
No. Me.
The scales, you tipped them. My life?
Gone.
But yours. Thriving. Jealousy laced her words. The final flip, not monster, but mirror. She handed an envelope, docs. Transfers. Our last shell. Yours now, cleaned. Untraceable. $1.20 mil. Walkaway gift.
Why?
Because blood's thicker than bile. And you. You spared him once. Pay it forward. Controversy incarnate. Accept. And I'm laundered anew. Refuse. And prove the purity I never had. Midnight tolled. The station clock booming like judgment. Mia called, studio's fine. Just a note. Watch your back. Love you. I tore the envelope. Docs fluttering like confetti. No, I said. We end clean. Lydia nodded, tears freezing on her lashes, and melted into the night. Sister.
Noah.
Villain.
Gone.
Back with Mia. Dawn breaking over the skyline. I confessed the midnight run. She pulled me close. Your call? I nodded. Clean. No empire. No revenge, just us. Flawed and forward. Was it happy? Tragic? The debates rage on, podcasts revisit. Books pitch the button. A cautionary American tale.
Me?
I teach. I love. I code for good. The button scarred, but didn't define. In the end, revenge isn't a press, it's the release after. And damn, it echoes.